Hi, this horse is due for a tail trim. In the dressage, we like the bottom of our horse's tails to be pretty flat, so we call it banged. And what we're really looking for is that the tails are pretty long nowadays, so we want it about at the point of his fetlock when he's in a halt. So his tail's quite long right now. I like to lift the tail up kind of in the position that he's going to hold it in when he's traveling, and you can see how flat the bottom is there. But when he's trotting and cantering, his tail's going to come back a little bit, and very little of our test is done in a halt or a walk. So with one hand, I'm going to lift the tail up, and with the other hand, I'm going to grab the rest of the tail, and I'm going to go a little bit at an angle away from his body, but I'm not going to go left or right of his body because that's going to change the tail, where the hair tension is in my hand. And then I just flip it up, and I'm cutting a few inches off his tail. Hair grows, so if I do a bad job, it'll just grow back. So now I do it 3 times. So I'll do a second one, work my way down toward the bottom. I've missed a few hairs, and I want to get it just a little bit flatter. And then I have a habit of always putting my scissors back in my pocket. I think that's a little bit safer. So now for the third one, my hope is there's nothing left to trim. I have 2 hairs I missed. So there's the bottom of the tail, and it's sitting right at the point of his fetlock. I like this length on him. He's not a super long horse, so I don't like his tail to be super long. Kind of shorter necks, we tend to do a shorter tail, but not much above the top of the fetlock, because again, the longer tails are a little more in style in the dressage. We tend to see the shorter tails in the eventing. A lot of us still do tail tops. I do the tail tops, but they've gotten a little bit out of fashion. Once you've started doing your horse's tail top, you do want to keep up with it, because as the hairs grow out, they can get pokey and irritate some of the horses. So if you don't already have a pattern, you could have someone more experienced do the tail top for you for the first time. If you've had it done before, we just look at the point of the buttocks. That's the farthest down I'm going to cut on his tail. And I think of it a little bit like a crew cut for horses. And so I'm going to use my scissors only straight. I'm not going to tilt them or cut around the edge of the tailbone. So I don't really take a lot of hair off when I do a tail top. I just want to clean up the long hairs a little bit that would tend to connect the tail to the body when the tail is up. So see, he doesn't have any long hairs that pull down on him, and it gives a, let's get out of the way here, it gives a nice separation here between his tail and his body without all these long straggly hairs right here. So like I said, I just do a small amount, and then I probably trim their tails every 2 to 3 months. In Washington, after our last show of the year, it was championships at the end of September. We would often cut the tail bottoms pretty short because we wanted to keep the mud out of the bottom of the tails. And unless we were going down to California to compete in the spring, our first horse shows weren't until into April or even May. So we would actually cut the tails to about mid-cannon bone, and they would be grown back down to the fetlock by the first show of the year. So everybody has a little different style with it. But this is a nice way to keep a nice tidy tail. Having it brushed beforehand is important. It does not have to be washed, although I do like to only brush a clean tail. So have fun doing your horse's tails, everyone.